Hello, everybody. Thank you for watch this video. My name is Oscar, and I've been working as a project manager for the last 10 years. The objective of this video is to share with you how to use the timeline view in Microsoft Project. This is a very powerful tool for reporting purposes and will avoid you having to spend time updating slides, moving arrows, moving circles, triangles, putting colors, because by using the timeline view, you will be able to report in a fully automated way. What I did for this video is that I created a basic project structure where you can see that I created the 5 project phases. We have the initiation phase with 3 tasks and 1 milestone, the planning phase, execution, monitoring, and closure. I added some milestones here for this exercise, where the milestone has some dependencies with the tasks, and I also added some dependencies between the different activities and tasks. So now I assume that the planning will start once the initiation phase will be ending. Execution and monitoring will come once the planning phase will be ending, and then the closure phase will come once the monitoring phase will be ending. So with this structure, once has been created, next step is activate the timeline view. To activate the timeline view, we have to go to view and check the timeline option. By this way, we are adding this timeline here on the top of the program. So next step is select which phases we want to add to the timeline and to our report. In my case, I will be adding the main phases, initiation. To add one phase or one line to the timeline view, you just need to right click on the line and then click on the add to timeline option. So I will do the same with all the phases. Add to timeline, right click, add to timeline, and finally right click, add to timeline. So I can see that, as I already said, both execution and monitoring will go in parallel, and both will be starting once the planning phase will be ending, because we have this dependency. I would recommend putting some colors. Let's do it right now. We can keep this as it is, but this planning, we can put it in this color. Let's put this in execution in this color, monitoring in this color, and closure in this color. Okay. So once we have the timeline with the phases added there, next step is add the milestones, because when we need to report, milestones are the key activities in our project, and we need also to report them. So let's add them also to the timeline. We need to proceed the same way we did for the phases. Right click, add to the timeline for the first, for the second one, for the third one, and for the last one. Okay. We can drag one of the milestones if it's on the bottom, and we can move it to the top, so we can play with it. Okay. So next step, once we have the timeline created with the phases, milestones added there, is add the progress, add the project progress. So for this exercise, we will assume that the task 1 has been completed. Task 2 has been also completed. The milestone 1 is done. We can see that is marked here by this way, adding a tick before the milestone name. And let's say that the task 3 is also completed. So we can see how the progress is being added to the timeline by changing the color of the face. So that's why I would not recommend using dark colors for the faces here in the timeline, okay? Because the progress will be reported here by this way. If we put here 100% on the first tasks of planning, we can see the progression here and how the color changes, okay? So yeah, let's add some progress here. Let's assume that the planning phase is also completed. Okay, and let's say that in the execution, we are on the, let's say 50%. Monitoring, we are on the 75% on the task 2. And closure has not started yet because we are now on the execution and monitoring. So this is the timeline view. This is how we report, and this would be a first approach for reporting with the timeline. We could go a bit further if we would like, and we could add a second timeline. This would be useful if we are managing a project with different streams and we would like to report them separately. We could do this way. Let me repeat. What I did is just right click here on the white side, and then timeline bar is plus sign. And here it is. We have a second timeline bar here. So now, next step would be add the activities we want. Let's say we have one project 2. With phase 1. Task 2. Let's make it as simple as possible. So we have this task week, 2 weeks, and these tasks is starting, let's say, by December. And this task is coming right after ending the task 1. So let's add these phases to the timeline 2. What happened? When you right click and when you add one phase or milestone to the timeline view, this is automatically added to the first timeline you created. But the way to proceed here is to drag it to the second one. So we proceed same way. And now we can see that both are on the second timeline. We could also add here one color and and add some milestones if we would like, and so on. So this is the way how we create timeline view in Microsoft Project. Next step would be right click, copy timeline for presentation, and you will have it ready for paste it on your slide deck. I hope this video will be useful for all of you. And if you have any question or any comment, just feel free to add your comment on the blog post. And yeah, thank you all for watching this video, and bye bye.